Baghdadi. All right, I'm trying to think of who I could compare that to in present day, and I just couldn't think of anybody. All right. All the boys in all the other classes were like, oh, George Clooney. All right. Clooney? Maybe. He put Clooney to shame. All right. He put Clooney to shame. So this little skirmish where he ultimately is forced to surrender starts the war. Okay. And like I said, it's not like the American Revolution where you have to know a bunch of different battles. All right. And this isn't that case. You really just kind of need to know how to explain the causes and effects of the war. So, because the British don't really have good relations with the Indians, all right, they will make a pact later on with the Iroquois, but there's a lot of Indian tribes out in that Ohio River Valley, which the French are friendly with. The Huron, the Ottawa, even the Delaware, who used to inhabit the area where we are right now, were pushed out of this area by the English colonists and are now there. They're going to side with the French. Okay? They're going to use guerrilla-style warfare to win battle after battle. What is guerrilla-style warfare? Walker?
Well, traditional battles back then were literally just we line up on one side, you line up on the other side, because some things are so inaccurate. It's just more like a battle of attrition. And guerrilla warfare was more like cutting supply lines, killing leaders, like just trying to do whatever you can to make it so they cannot afford to fight a war.
Okay.
Like just scare people.
Not like that traditional stuff. That was seen in Europe as gentlemanly, right? Fighting like with on. They have done. You can picture them that way if you want.
I will.
It wouldn't have helped their aim because the muskets were very inaccurate, like you said. Guerrilla style. All right. Who else can kind of add to what you're saying about guerrilla style?
You burst out of the bushes, you take a shot or two at whatever you're shooting at, then just run away as fast as you can.
Okay. You're using your environment, right, to kind of aid and protect you to engage in hit and run style tactics. All right. Which the Europeans are going to see as kind of almost like a savage way of fighting, but it's very effective. All right, it will be used very effectively against the British. We will use it in the American Revolutionary War against the British very effectively, and we'll talk so much about guerrilla-style warfare in the next coming week. When we get next year to the Vietnam War, we're going to see how the Viet Cong, all right, throughout the Vietnam War in the 1960s and early 70s, use guerrilla-style warfare to their advantage against the #1 superpower in the world at the time.
Can we watch Red Dawn in class?
No.
You just want to watch Patrick. You just want to watch Patrick Swayze.
All right. So guerrilla-style warfare helps the French with the Indians early on. All right. The main general of the English, you don't need to know his name, Braddock. He actually gets killed fighting. So this new guy, William Pitt, replaces him, and basically he's going to lead the English to conquer Quebec and then Montreal, like the video talked about. All right, there's a picture depicting Quebec scaling the cliffs. So they basically besieged the city, and then they snuck up those cliffs when they weren't expecting it. Kind of like at D-Day, our Army Rangers climbed famous Point de Hoc. On the coast of Normandy there, the Nazis weren't expecting it. So we climbed up, surprised them, we were able to take out key installations and batteries, and the British do the same thing, turn the tide of the war, they align with the powerful Iroquois, and ultimately the British are going to win. Okay? This is extremely important. First major treaty that you need to know, you might as well underline this. The Treaty of Paris ends the war. 1763. Well, what does it say? Look at this map. It says that Great Britain has all lands in North America east of the Mississippi River. Very easy to remember. Alright? Future treaties won't be that easy. Alright? This is our first Treaty of Paris. And as you will soon see throughout studying U.S. history, 9 times out of 10 on a test, if you have an option to pick a treaty, go with the Treaty of Paris. Alright? Because we're going to have a lot of them. When the American Revolutionary War is ended, it'll be another Treaty of Paris. Okay? But as you can see, we now are in control of Florida. Alright, Great Britain is. So Spain had allied themselves with France. They lose Florida, but they do gain all the territory west of the Mississippi. Okay? Now, what will happen, just to kind of, in case you're wondering, this will become French again because we're going to end up buying this territory, all right, the Louisiana Territory from the French, from Napoleon later on down the road. After the Treaty of Paris with the American Revolutionary War, the Spanish take back over Florida for a time period. They will eventually cede that to us in a treaty and during John Quincy's administration, so we will cover all this, okay? But right now, it's basically Great Britain and Spain. But Spain is fledgling as an empire. We've already talked about that. Okay? So, Treaty of Paris, very important. Ends the French and Indian War. Alright? What caused it? There's people that Ohio River Valley, okay? And then you have Sparks, George Washington, alright, Virginia militia, alright. Ultimately, he loses the opening battle, alright. But through persistence, alright, even after losing a lot of battles through guerrilla-style warfare, the British do win, alright, and we have the Treaty of Paris signed. Okay? We good?
Did the British consider the Battle of Quebec gentlemanly if it was just like a surprise attack siege? Because it seems like if they think anything not lining up is...
No, siege warfare is very popular. It goes back to medieval times, and was used quite extensively throughout the French and Indian War because forts would be besieged all the time. So I can't see that as being finalized. The idea of sneaking up out of the woods, shooting at someone and running away and then coming back, like, the British just weren't used to that. They were used to lining up in rows, fighting. But siege warfare, you have huge cannons and you're fighting back and forth at each other and you're digging, massive trenches and it's very elaborate.
Parties know the term.
Yes, I think so, yeah. Okay, this is kind of just a side note now. It's right up over there, alright? First political cartoon in American history, alright? Any idea who made it?
Apparently Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, created the color. Alright. It's not long day. Ben Franklin, alright. He made it, forgot I've had it up there, alright? So, this is important. When most people see this political cartoon, says join or die, they think it comes from the American Revolutionary War. Alright? It becomes very popular during that time period, but it was actually created for the French and Indian War. Alright? Franklin wanted the colonies to aid in helping the British defeat the French and Indians. Alright? What does NE stand for? What? New England, okay? So he just doesn't have enough up here. Alright, enough places. George is missing. He left Georgia out specifically because it was rather uninhabited. Remember, it was originally set up as a penal colony. It didn't really contribute much, so he left it out. Alright? Did everyone get the idea? A political cartoon should be very easy to understand. Alright? If we don't unite, we will not win. Alright? And that's why it's a wonderful cartoon for the American Revolutionary War. Because we don't stand a chance. And you know what? If we don't unite, okay, because we were facing the most powerful empire in the world in the British. So how can a bunch of colonies rise up if they're not united together? Alright, so this is why it's become such a big symbol of the American Revolutionary War. Okay? I just wanted to share that with you. We good? Alright, back to the notes. 2 more slides. Let's see. Okay, so victory brings problems. One of the tribes I mentioned, the Ottawa, their leader, Pontiac, okay, he realizes a French loss means an Indian loss. They had alliance with the French. The French are getting kicked out, losing land. That only means that they are doomed at some point. So, he goes on the offensive, and in the Ohio River Valley, he's going to capture a series of forts. Now, the British response is going to be to fight the Indians, but also they engage in this biological warfare. I think we talked about at the beginning of the year. They're going to give smallpox-infected blankets to Delaware tribes, Ottawa tribes, and basically through fighting and disease, these tribes are going to be decimated. All right. Some will continue to flee west of the Mississippi. Others who stay might die from disease or fighting. Okay. But basically, what happens is, are wars expensive?
Yes.
All right. If you're following politics at all right now, you know that the last 10 years of your life, we've been engaged in 2 wars. And as a result, they've had a huge impact and influence on our economics, all right? It cost a lot of money. Same thing happened to the British. Their deficit doubled with the French and Indian War, okay? So, partly because of money, partly because of Native American fighting, they issue, all right, this is very, very important, the Proclamation of 1763. What it says is that the colonists shall not settle west of this line, and that line basically runs through what mountain chain again? Appalachian. So they're saying that colonists shall not settle west of the Appalachians. Now, what were the Navigation Acts? Someone remind me. We talked about them earlier in the chapter.
That was just that all goods coming to the colony had to pass through Britain, and you had to pay taxes on the ships had to be British.
Okay. It restricts colonial trade, right? It actually proves to be economically beneficial, right? But it restricts colonial trade. It was trying to prevent smuggling, all right? Did merchants appreciate that?